tolerance loop represents the chain of dimensions, that is, a set of continuous connected dimensions. Each loop has its unique ID generated by the system. Well, you and I might not understand these technical jargons of space technology, but here we are at the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, where we are with a group of students who will better help us understand these technical terms, the magical universe that we live in, and of course why they choose this as a career option. Welcome to Y Factor. I'm Shreya Upadhyay, and today we will be talking to all of these group of young aspiring scientists who have joined this course of space science and technology. Let's get started with them. Why did you choose this as your career option?
Actually, it's both. One is like you have a certain passion since childhood. Most of us are more fascinated by few things. So in my case, it was aircrafts. So from aircrafts, I slowly went towards aerospace. And then I found, okay, now space engineering or aerospace is also like a good branch. So there are so many career options. So I thought I'll pursue my passion and go into this area.
All right. We're also joined by another student here. Hi, what's your name?
Hello, I'm again an alumni, and I graduated in 2017. I also pursued BTech in Aerospace Engineering, and again I was sponsored by IST for a master's program at California Institute of Technology. That was a Master of Science in Space Engineering.
The same question to you again. Why did you choose this as your career option when there are, of course, a plethora of options in India? Of course, this is one of the emerging ones, but why did you choose this as a career option?
So when I was a child, I was very fascinated by launches of ISRO. So that fascinated me a lot. And then Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was the chancellor of the institute when I joined here. So he was my inspiration. So that was another thing. And then there are several lucrative things that IST has to offer. So it has exchange programs with a lot of top universities. Caltech is one of them. And then you have very lucrative fee waiver programs. And then toppers of the institute get to work in ISRO. And you know that ISRO is currently the most interesting and fascinating place to work in India if you are aiming to work in aerospace industry. So that was probably why I joined.
All right. So, he was inspired by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, as probably, a lot of us youngsters are. Were you also inspired by Dr. Kalam, and why did you choose this as a course that you want to study?
Actually, APJ Abdul Kalam always inspired us in our endeavors, and actually I was much more interested in the technical and the scientific aspects of space, so we could do more of experiments out there. So that's why I chose this as a career option.
Right now you're studying here?
Yeah, I am doing my MS in solid state physics. I'm in 4th year right now.
Hi, what's your name first?
My name is Divyakanti. I am studying here BTech in Aerospace Engineering in 4th year.
So Divyakant, the same thing to you as well. Why were you so interested in aerospace engineering?
Yeah, see, as they told that this is an emerging subject and it's fascinating, and from childhood itself we are like fascinating seeing planes in the skies and all, and this is the subject which is less explored by people in India, so that's why I'm trying to explore this.
And have you been able to, explore it to your interests? I'm sure you face challenges too.
Yeah, I have challenges, but I can overcome those things. Yeah.
All right. To you, you're also studying aerospace engineering?
Yeah, I'm aerospace 4th year student.
All right. So, you've spent 3 years, you're in the 4th year. How do you see this course? Why were you interested in it?
Yeah, from the beginning, for every kind of students, it is like a very much fascinating kind of subject, because here you are going to space and you're exploring there are a lot of questions, and some are very much fundamental in nature. So right now when we are studying this, we find the engineering point of view that we have a lot of challenges for the accuracy of the subject. We have to do all the things very much accurately. So there's a lot of challenges, and when you make something which is going to fly in the space, then you'll be very much happy.
In fact, it is very inspiring when you see, your own thing which has been made, which has been built by your hard work, flying there right into space.
I'm Shubham Saha.
Shubham, you're also studying aerospace engineering here?
I'm studying electronics and communication engineering here.
All right. And what makes you so interested in this, in this course and choosing this as a career option for yourself?
Actually, when I came here, I started with aerospace engineering, but I shifted to electronics and communication engineering because I felt fascinating about how these circuits are made, and like there are a lot of challenges to make a space grade circuit, and not like the commercial ones that we build. And also like we are learning this space environments and how to build circuits in space environments like that. So, and there are a lot of scopes like when we study this CMOS technology, about CMOS technology, there we don't consider all those impurities in general course. We don't consider all those technical details, but in our institute we are mainly focused to space grade materials, so we consider each and every detail very minutely. So that is one thing that fascinated me. Like I was very fascinated to it, and then I sort of moved towards electronics and communication engineering, and I see like this is the future that ISRO and India is going to make a big mark on it.
Which one's easier for you?
Obviously, electronics and communication engineering is easier.
All right. So, fascinating because there are several fields of engineering, several types of engineering, whether it's electronic, electrical or chemical. But these guys are here studying aerospace engineering, which is, of course, an emerging trend amongst youngsters to study. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Parthasarthi Samant.
Okay, Parthasarthi, what are you studying?
I'm studying here electronics and communication. So when I came here as an electronics student itself. So like I choose this institute to work on space and space related things. Like I'm right now in 3rd years and I'm already working in some nanosat projects. So like we are getting some hands-on experience on how to build space grade electronics, as he already mentioned, and how to test it and how to like qualify those things for space missions. And we are regularly interacting with our VSSC seniors like who all have passed out from this institute, so that is quite great for me, and like I really enjoy that experience.
All right, space missions, of course, of India, and people getting inspired by them, and these guys choosing this field as a career option. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Ushasi Bhaumik,
And what are you studying?
I am studying engineering physics.
All right, and why did you choose this?
I have always wanted to be a scientist. Back then I wasn't so sure what field, but then you talk about space and talk about stars and galaxies and different planets, and in the beginning and the end of it all, it's all very fascinating.
Yes, of course, it is fascinating, and I'm also fascinated by the fact that girls are choosing this as a career option. A lot of girls are coming up in this field. We saw women, whether it was Mangalyaan or Chandrayaan-2, the recently launched one. There were a lot of women scientists who were involved in the whole process. What do you think about that, women coming in this career?
I think that's really amazing. We need women everywhere. It's all the same.
And, another question related to this, of course, is the fact that as a girl, traditionally, stereotypically, if I can say, these fields were not considered to be those for women. But now we're breaking the trend, we're breaking that ceiling and coming into these options and excelling in them. What do you see about that? What are the challenges that you have faced, if you have?
I haven't really faced a lot of challenges. My parents have been very open about this everything. I mean, I live in Delhi and they were all right letting me go out as far as I want to. So they were very cool with it.
All right. Well, let's talk to other youngsters as well, other students who have taken up this career option. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Sanjishnu Adhikari and I am in engineering physics. If you talk about why I have choose this, so I have a different answer. If you remember Vikram Sarabhai's quote that we don't have that much, we don't have that fantasy exploring space and moons and Mars, but we want to work for society. So I thought that development of engineering sciences is based on the fundamental sciences like physics. So I took this course for only this sole physics purpose, and as well as if I can contribute something to the development of engineering sciences so that it can help society.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, and one of the things that he also said is that the development of a nation depends a lot on the scientific temper of its people. And here we are with these youngsters who have, seen this, felt the scientific temper, and of course, chosen this as a career option. There are also girls who've taken up this career option. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Chinmay.
Chinmay, what are you studying?
I'm in dual degree program, 4th year. So I have taken solid state physics MS as my MS branch.
And why did you choose this?
Yeah, even when I was in my childhood, I used to think me of like dream to be like a scientist, and also like I want to serve my nation, and it's like going towards our passion and serving nation. I felt this institute as good, and also I like it's like so even we get fascinated by sending rockets and all, but I'm not an aerospace engineering. But
I'm sure you can make your contribution and help the scientists.
Sectors and all. So this physics can help me for detecting, for making good technology for in further understanding the things and all.
All right, there's another girl who has also taken this path of talking space, studying space technology. Let's talk to her as well. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Pavani. I'm interested in how these natural phenomena such as natural disasters such as floods, droughts, and also tropical cyclones are formed, and how they are also able to predict them, which can warn the people before. So I thought I can do something.
I think that's very inspiring that, young girls like Pavni are thinking about how to contribute to society. It's not just, of course, there are successful missions like Mangalyaan, Gaganyaan, but there's also small things like, satellites helping us predict tsunamis or our storms and such things, about the weather. Is that the reason why you chose this career path as well, or do you have another reason?
Actually, I have the reason. I'm Bhavna. I'm a dual degree final year student as well, but I'm doing my master's in astronomy and astrophysics. So since I was a small kid in my village, when I used to look up at the night sky and wonder why didn't all the stars look the same? Some of them had different colors, and later I found out that this was because they were in different stages of their evolution. And that propelled me to learn more about them, and that's why I took up astronomy as a science. And how I reached this institute is because IAST is the only institute which offers a specialization in astronomy and astrophysics as early as a 4th year in undergraduate. And I've always been inspired by not just the female scientists that they talked about, or the scientists like Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, but other astronomers who, since India has such a rich tradition in astronomy, but recently Indians have not been making their name in astronomy, or they have not been coming up as much as they're supposed to. So I feel with upcoming works by ISRO, such as the launching of the AstroSat satellite, which is India's first dedicated space telescope, and which in its 3 or 4 years of launch has already come up with some dramatic discoveries. And I'm actually working on one of such discoveries myself, my supervisor, and I feel that with such new steps, we can take India's name to the forefront of the global research community on astronomy.
Absolutely, and I think it's girls like you, it's students like you who aspire to take India's name and make it shine. But Bhavna, I asked other students, girl students as well, these fields of space and technology, these are not stereotypically considered as a field where women will excel. But we have broken that stereotype. We have come forward. People like you are studying it. What are the challenges that you faced?
Well, growing up, in order to reach an institute such as IAST, well, there are definite barriers, such as, for example, as to go for entrance coaching as early as class 11 or 12. Girls are not encouraged to go out to the big coaching centers. They are, I was not allowed to go out to another city. I had to stay in home and do coaching by myself, and that's how I reached here. But I feel the government has come up with lots of inventive measures, such as I'm a single girl child, and hence I did not have to pay any tuition fees ever since class 7, because single girl children are exempted. And even coming here, how ISRO and the government has come up with ways to help girl students, especially girl students, to come up with this field and make us carve out a space for ourselves. I think that's a laudable effort.
All right, and taking this forward, this conversation forward of space science and technology, there's also another field which has come up, which is that of artificial intelligence, of robotics and drones. And all of these guys here are in some way involved in artificial intelligence and in drone making. Let's try and understand from them what they think about it. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Ashish Kumar Mishra. I am currently in second year BTech, doing a bachelor degree in electronics and communication engineering. I am actually interested in coding, artificial intelligence, machine learning, as well as space. So I found that this is a place where you can get all of this together. Like nowadays, all these robots and this unmanned, those what do you call those which are sent rovers and those things which are sent to Mars and Moon for testing the soil and atmosphere, which these all requires like artificial intelligence. The main human beings cannot always control what are the environments, control their they can control every time what it needs to do. So we need to make something which can control itself. So like if we need to develop such systems which can do the things on its own. So currently I'm doing.
All right. So, a lot of interest in artificial intelligence and drone making and robotics, a lot of interest in that all of you guys have. What do you think are the challenges that artificial intelligence or drone making faces or might face in the future?
Well, it's a very, it's a very emerging topic right now, artificial intelligence, and there is a lot of ethics involved in the creation of artificial intelligence, on what restrictions should we put on this technology to put forward. So I think it's a pretty big moral debate. I mean, you don't want to develop artificial intelligence to a point where it can be threatening to you. So yeah, it's a lot to think about there.
Absolutely, a lot to think about. And the moral debate that you mentioned, what do you think about that? Which side of the debate are you on?
Like, we should of course use artificial intelligence, but we should have our own ethics to use it. Like, if you are using some robots to like sending on Mars or sending on Moon to explore something, so you can't do any nuclear experiment there to contaminate their environment. So if you use artificial intelligence for the purpose of well-being, then of course it's good. So like space ethics already includes various rules how to use these things. So I think we should strictly stick to those rules. Otherwise, it may mislead to a very bad.
The destruction of mankind as it is feared. And talking about ethics of space exploration, let's try and talk to these guys about what they think about it, where they stand over ethics in space exploration. What is your take on that?
There has to be some limit. Like there are some ethics, like we cannot put contaminants from Earth in space, in Moon or any other planet. So that, like, if our mission is to find life and we are taking some bacteria from Earth and then putting it there, that is not a point. So, and other ethics are there, like we have to share the information to everyone like this. And also there has been this space exploration is mainly governed by different governments of countries. So, but that has to be very open because people has to know what they are doing. So that is kind of the big step that everyone has to take, every country has to take. And that is it. That is what I.
There's also a lot of talk about drones, and youngsters like you and Indians across the country are making drones and using them for purposes that are helpful to mankind. What is your take on drone building and of course the ethics that follow it?
Actually, these drones are extremely helpful for the to access those areas which cannot be reached by mankind. Like suppose you want to send a pack of blood, you cannot go there manually, but you can send it by drone. But there should be ethics, like it shouldn't enter someone's privacy. Like I'll tell that you cannot control the wind, but you can control the sail to direct the way you want to go. Like that's.
All right, and talking about ethics of space exploration, there's also a lot of talk about space wars. It is, of course, a very nascent in stage, very recent in its conversation, but there is, of course, a lot of talk about that. What do you guys think about that? Of course, it is a very dangerous thing. It is an upcoming trend, but what is your take on that?
Well, yes. So space is some asset that, or a resource that belongs to everyone, and all countries, in my opinion, should be strictly against militarization of space. So there are, of course, many treaties that control what you can put in space, how you can use space. So I think if humankind has to have positive growth and development, then it has to use space, all the celestial bodies, say Moon or Mars or whatever resources there are on space. It has to use them for all constructive purposes. So I think that is what our ethics towards space should be. There are then several issues that come up. So for example, there are issues of contamination, forward contamination, backward contamination. So whether you accidentally introduce life forms on other planets while looking for life forms there.
Or get them back to Earth.
Yeah. So then measures are taken so as to sterilize, say your spacecraft, so as to not contaminate. And then there are things related to not putting nuclear weapons in space. So yes, I think all countries have to work together so as to use space resources wisely and for constructive purposes.
But I think that's the point of contention, that like you said in your first line, that the space belongs to all. But that is not what a lot of others think when it comes to space exploration and, of course, now the talk about space wars. What's your take on that?
Well, I think if you look at International Space Station, that is basically a collaboration of many countries. Even then you can see US and Russia, which are like adversaries, have come together on collaboration for International Space Station. So I think there is some part of collaboration, even though we look at it like different countries and they are against each other in this. But when we go towards space, then I think some of those boundaries are diluted. So which I feel that it is better, even though people are saying that they may not collaborate and things like that, but I feel that it is much better when we go towards space. And when you look at it from the outside point of view, then Earth is just one. So it is like everybody has to come together finally for when you are going to outer space and beyond that.
What do you think, how has ISRO's journey been? There is, of course, Mangalyaan, Gaganyaan, and now Chandrayaan 1 and 2, of course, Chandrayaan 2 has been launched. How do you see that journey of India's space missions?
Yeah, well, compared to all other space agencies, ISRO is doing a great job. Like right now, the success is very much high, and like they do the things very much cheap than all other countries. So it is obviously a very good step. Like not only the big steps like Chandrayaan, Gaganyaan, there are small satellite launch vehicles. Those things are also coming out. So. Right now for that, for the heavy launch vehicle, which is going to for the Gaganyaan thing, so there like new centers are being established. So there are a lot of things we are coming out, and it is very much helpful for all these cases.
How do you see that journey? It has been a very proud journey for all of us in India. But how do you see that, vis-a-vis as compared to space agencies, say, of the US or of the Russia or of China?
I think it's a fantastic journey. We have started from scratch and we have worked our way to the top. There's still more to go, definitely, but we're working on it. I'm sure we'll one day we'll be as good as NASA.
All right, and now, coming to the end of our discussion, I'll go to the alumni because, these guys are the ones who have studied at IIST. They are working in the field. And I would like to ask both of you guys, what would you like to say to all those aspiring scientists who want to join this college and, of course, become scientists in the future?
Well, I would like to say that this is a very exciting field. It is emerging field. Maybe it started very recently, if we can say, like 1960s and all, when we went to the moon as a human being. So I think there are lots of opportunities in space science, as somebody earlier told, it's not just one branch but many branches. So if you are from any branch and you can come into this field, and it is not just that, okay, you are going to space, you are building satellites. You can do much more in space.
But there's also a lot of fear among youngsters that it's going to be tough, it's going to be challenging. What would you like to say to them, how to overcome them, and what's been your journey been like?
Okay, so here the scope of space science and technology is now ever increasing. Right now, the world space economy is of about $350 billion, and very hopeful estimates show that in next 20 years it might be $1 trillion economy. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities. Very good startups are coming up even in India. And then we have so many new missions, space exploration missions, which all started with Chandrayaan. And you see in the coming days, we are going to have missions to Sun, Venus. We'll have a Mangalyaan 2, Chandrayaan 3. So this is going to be a very, very, very interesting area if you want to work in.
The late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam once said that to climb to the top, you need strength, whether it is the top of the Mount Everest or the top of your career. And the students of Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology are doing just that when they put in their sincere efforts to become aspiring scientists of the country and contribute to India in their own special, small as well as big ways. This is it in Y Factor this time. We will come back with another interesting episode next week. But till then, you can send us your feedback on Gmail, that is yfactorddnews@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @DDNewsLive. Thanks very much for joining us this time around. Namaskar.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.